Welcome back, everybody. We are back again, myself, Amy, and the lovely Alex, to introduce you guys to round 5 of the Pokemon TCG Regionals in Bochum.
Yeah, we've had 4 fantastic rounds already, and we've got another wonderful matchup that's going to be played for round 5. We're going to be bringing 2 different decks that haven't been seen yet today, of course, giving us an opportunity to see how diverse this metagame is.
We've got this. Honestly, this is going to be one for the ages. Can't wait to see these guys battle it out. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, and we have our players just being shown on screen there. We've had a few calls from the chat to bring him on, but there is Sen on the left-hand side. He will be piloting his Reggie deck up against Tai Nguyen, playing a very unique take on the Arceus Pikachu. There's a little bit of a splash of a Duraludon in there. There's the Mew Celebrations from there as well. So we're going to see a really cool, different way of sort of playing a deck or Pokemon in Arceus.
Yeah, we know how versatile Arceus can be.
Exactly.
It can make anything work, right? So let's see that in practice.
Exactly. So it's combined with a number of different partners in this deck here for Ty's side. Both players, don't forget, are 4-0, so in excellent position so far. So far, so good for both, really. We know what Regigigas can sometimes be like.
Yeah.
You know, once you can kind of navigate that first turn or two where you might have a bit of a struggle sometimes, once you get into the game, you really are in a really good position because you just hit things for weakness. You have loads of different utility attacks, and it's great. But up against that Arceus Pikachu, we know what Pikachu can do against a Reggie deck.
Yeah, against any single prices, that Pikachu VMAX is essential. It's really scary, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Sen to get around that, so we're going to see some hopefully really clever plays. They do play a lot of techs in their deck for this sort of matchup, so hopefully they'll be able to bring it home.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we see both our players just shuffling up there. We're interested to actually see what their matches have been so far for today, of course. This is, as we mentioned, round 5. 4 more rounds to go to put themselves in contention for day 2 and beyond as we have a look at the prizes just here, Amy.
Okay, let's have a looky. So none of them look too awful. 2 Reggies in the prize cards isn't fantastic, but again, they play multiple counts, especially of that Reggie Alecki. So at the moment, not looking too bad at all from either side. I think they've both got a potential for a really strong start.
Yeah, definitely. And we both their players have just shaken hands, and we do kick off with Ty, starting our round 5. Going for the quick ball does open that Duraludon in the active spot. Not one you see too often, actually, in comparison to some of the others, but pretty unique take on an Arceus deck here from Ty as he goes into and through his deck with his first ball search of that quick ball, eyeing at that Arceus V.
Yeah, nice and easy way to get into that Arceus to start either kind of creating an energy engine for themselves or maybe thinking about getting that Pikachu as well. I don't know what their play is going to be, but it's an interesting start with the Duraludon because it's not ideally what they'd want against this matchup, and obviously that Regieleki is quite a sure sign that they are playing against the single prize Reggie team.
Yeah, and there we go. He's got a number of options, as you mentioned. He will probably be looking to get that Pikachu down as well. That Flying Pikachu V, you know, a World Championship winning card. Such a great utility card just because of that free retreat as well. Does have that Ultra Ball in hand and that opportunity to get a number of cards out. Does look to try and set up his board, give himself a bit more options with that Crobat being chosen from the Ultra Ball there. So, yeah, if I was in Ty's shoes, I'd be looking to try and get that Pikachu as soon as down as soon as possible as well.
Yeah, I think Pikachu was taken for the underdog for far too long. Yep. And I think it's got another chance to show itself in this meta because there are so many single prize decks. A lot of them having to adapt to deal with this Pikachu, but then the nature of Regis doesn't really sit with that, where they require each other to work in harmony.
Yeah, exactly that. And Sen will be looking down at Ty's board, seeing the lightning energy, which opens up the kind of realization of what he's going to be facing up against. You know, Arceus nowadays, the way it's been evolving, you know, it used to be a powerhouse in previous formats or previous metas. Now it's having to evolve to find the right partner still, but because it's such a good utility card, it's able to just find multiple different partners that really work well with itself. You know, that Duraludon VMAX, that's how I'll be playing, using just kind of causing awkward situations with things like the Lugia matchup, for example, where everything's a special energy, or in this scenario with that flying Pikachu VMAX, allowing him to use Max Balloon and stopping basic Pokemon being able to damage it. So here comes the Celebrations Mew in the active position as well. Mysterious Tail, taking 6 cards from the top of your deck, and have a little look for a item card there. So again, loads of utility, loads of options, finds a scoop up net.
And with a deck with so many different Pokemon in it, this really combines the consistency. It brings everything together and just allows for that flexibility of having one lines of Pokemon and having tech Pokemon and tech items. Actually, the Mew is invaluable.
Yeah, there's so many item cards that Ty does play in his list. You know, you've got accounts of the Quick Balls, the Ultra Balls that he's maxed out. It does also play Evo Incense, the Scoop Up Nest, the Battle VIP Pass. He plays a couple copies as well. Also useful to try and utilize to get things like Big Parasol as well in terms of certain matchups. And it does just pass over here, and he's just only got a single prize in the active spot, so nothing to worry about there for Ty, as Sen does immediately have to play that Marnie to see what he can get going. Does hit that speed energy, as well as some trekking shoes as he plays it down.
Yeah, big handful of energy. Will it work out? It's nice in Regis when you hit the energy, because sometimes that can be its downfall. If you don't hit them early enough and don't manage to get them in the discard pile, then Regis really can't do their thing.
Yeah, exactly. Multiple pieces needing to be into either the hand and the discard pile for Regis really to get going. You need those, not just all of the Regis down, you need those energies in the right place as well. But that speed energy allowing Zen to draw 2 further cards. Again, has drawn into an Ultra Ball. Sometimes a little bit slower, sometimes with how he can get his board set up. But because you're a single prizer, you can use this time to do so.
Yeah, we see those energies hitting the bin, which is fantastic. We love it when they hit the discard pile nice and early. Means that Sen doesn't have to worry too much. They know that they've begun that process. Now it's the pain of getting all of the Regis onto the bench as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and we do see Sen just giving a quick count, finding out and what might be prized if he has to eventually get that Hisuian Heavy Ball at some stage to maybe pick up another piece of the puzzle. Knowing is not too bad. Obviously, only has access to 1 Regice at this stage, of course, with 1 being prized. Does play the 3 copies of Regieleki, of 2 copies of obviously the one that's in the active spot right now, and then the prize one there as just a 1 copy. Just again increasing those odds of a good card to be able to use things like that speed energy, and also to use useful attacks that allows it to snipe bench Pokemon as well.
Yeah, he goes ahead and grabs the Regidrago, which have the fantastic ability to be able to draw them more cards. Hopefully he'll be able to thin the hand enough to be able to utilize that this turn. I think there might have been a consideration there for the Regice, where it's going to be harder to find later. But again, having that card draw is invaluable.
Yeah, that Dragon Horde ability on that Regidrago is incredible for the deck to at least try and pull itself back into the game sometimes, because you're having to draw cards or find some other ways of consistency. With that Regice, sometimes he might be looking towards the latter part of the combo to be able to just get it out, so he can then start swinging straight away and not be targeted down. That being said, Ty would have no idea what's prized, so he'd be able to play it down, and generally, unless it's a Lost City coming down, you're targeting one of the 2 obs anyway.
Yeah.
It generally is quite safe still. But we do just see the pass over to Ty, and there is the Mysterious Tail again, finds an escape rope from the top 6 cards. And he'll just be looking to try and get a DTE. Of course, does have the V-Star already on the bench, so has access to that incredible Starbirth ability to grab any 2 cards from his deck, should he choose to do so, and he does.
There it is, straight away. Sometimes you need that extra push to set up, and I think he knows that in this matchup, as soon as they're set up, theoretically, Regis is going to have a hard time.
Yeah, exactly, and he'll be looking to try and use that incredible Trinity Nova attack, dealing enough damage, of course, to knock out pretty much all Pokemon on Sen's side of the board, but allowing himself also to power up those Pokemon on his board state. So it could be to the active, it can be to the bench. Of course, we'll be eyeing up that flying Pikachu VMAX at some stage to be able to just inhibit Sen's game plan in terms of actually taking knockouts, just because it's got such a great effect on the attack itself.
Even Duraludon VMAX in this matchup is really scary, so really difficult to get around all of Ty's Pokemon. Not a nice matchup at all. I'm hoping that we can see a comeback from Sen and they've got something really tricky up their sleeve.
Yeah, it's going to be he's going to be eyeing down a few quite difficult other opponent Pokemon in this scenario. Does play the 4 path to the peak, so maybe Duraludon might not be too much of a worry. Of course, he has to get it at the right time, still has to get all the pieces, still has to hit onto the Duraludon VMAX as well. But yeah, at this current moment in time, Ty looking in a nice commanding position as he does use Trinity Nova for 200 damage and looks to power up some Pokemon on his bench there, eyeing up that Metal Energy and the Lightning.
The Duraludon, although can be stopped by Path to the Peak, in a slightly more unusual build where it's being utilized, doesn't run things like Hyper Potions, so they might well get away with a 2-hit KO on a Duraludon.
Yeah, definitely, and being able to take 3 prizes instead of the standard 2 that you typically get with V Pokemon now, or just or some of the other Pokemon that's available, it just allows Ty to have multiple options there, and actually see all 3 colors of the energy there going onto the Flying Pikachu. Has not evolved yet, but that's not too much of a worry. Again, it needs a lot to be knocked out. But at the same time, Ty will be looking to try and evolve that up as soon as possible, as it now passes back over to Sen after that KO.
Sen's getting ready so we can let those Reggies loose on that bench, I reckon. I'm hoping that we can see it just explode. But there's a lot of decision making to go into this deck, because without the right resources, Reggies can unfortunately not keep up. And Ty has made a really fantastic start, going for the speed energy. Go ahead to draw 2 cards and further the Regieleki's draw power and energy cost.
Yeah, there's. I don't think Sen's hand's looking too pretty right now. Is looking to play that Ordinary Rod and just get back one of the Reggies that has been discarded already. And I believe it was just a Registeel, wasn't it? That was knocked out just then. So it's just trying to work out now what else he can do. Can he play his hand down a bit further? Has to play down
Drago.
Yeah, has to play down the second Drago right now. And then looks to use that Dragon Horse ability for 2 cards, just trying to maximize the value that he can get out of it. Does find a Regirock, so it's another piece of the puzzle.
We're getting closer, but a Scoop Up Net's going to be needed to complete this board state.
Yeah, it's probably going to be, it looks like it's going to be another turn where he needs to just hold off from anything else being attacked. Does boss up the Crobat that was benched. Sen will be hoping maybe Ty, if he is going to knock anything out, he'd be knocking out a Regidrago. But of course, Ty would be looking to try and find an opportunity maybe to just keep both of those on the board and just cause Sen to have to look for another piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, looks like Pikachu VMAX is coming out of the deck.
Here it comes, surely. We obviously can't see it in the prizes, so it has to be there somewhere.
Oh,
and there it is.
Coming. There he is. 3 beautiful different colored energies to match his balloons, and now he's into a plane.
Where's this World Championship medal that he needs to wear around his neck? May as well be at the same time. But yeah, we've seen a fantastic card which has kind of come in because it's hitting for weakness, and I think Sen's seen the writing on the wall there, where he has just decided to scoop this game up, go to a game 2, and this is what we don't see from a lot of players as well. Being able to identify early on to give themselves enough time, enough of a chance to really take it to game 2 and potentially take the series. So Sen there immediately just going, okay, you've got sets up. I'm just going to be attacked by this flying Pikachu, and my deck's just not currently going. But that's the problem with Regigigas, I guess, unfortunately, sometimes.
It is, and it's a skill. It's a real skill. These players only have 50 minutes to complete 3 games. That's a lot of Pokemon to play in 50 minutes. So being able to identify early on when actually it's not going your way, might as well go on to a game 2, because then you can stretch for that game 3, and that's going to be essential, especially if you're on the back foot. Being able to identify that so you're less likely to go to a draw is really important, and it takes a lot of skill to know when to call it.
Definitely, and I guess with that max balloon attack that was going to be coming down from Ty's side, you know, there's not many outs that Sen plays in his list. He's gone for a bit more of a traditional, maybe more consistent type variant. None of this extra utility where you might have a escape rope and the boss and finding a way to knock it out. No, he's just gone for what he's done so far. It's taken him to a 4-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both players still at for a record, so something's working.
Yeah,
and now it's just
is key sometimes, but
exactly.
Unfortunately, sometimes a big Pikachu gets in the way, and there's not much you can do about that. I think it does spell doom a lot of the time for poor old Reggies.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the single prize deck of the Reggies is going to be able to maybe navigate the net game 2. We'll probably see a very similar game plan from Ty. You know, maybe trying to get that turn 1 Trinity charge instead. Maybe not necessarily dealing that damage, but at least powering up the rest of his support Pokemon there. As Sen immediately goes into his deck, just double checking the counts. You can see, of course, from his side, he's going to increase his pace a little bit just so he can start working things out, start mapping out his route to victory as soon as possible. Does have Dragon's Horde in the active spot, hasn't prized anything too major, but we do see one of those scary big yellow Pokemon being prized on Ty's side.
So maybe it will slow Ty down enough that Sen can get set up this time. And starting with the Dragon's Horde, Regidrago, not a bad sign at all either, instantly giving them the ability to draw more cards on their turn if they can thin their hand. So a really quick assess of the deck, and they look ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, we do see that pick of the Regieleki going onto the board. Remember, he does play the 3 copies of Regieleki, of course, the 2 and the 1 split. But means it's generally a safer pick as well to bench quite early on, even if it gets knocked out. And in the same vein, that Regigigas. But he's already eyeing up which cards he's going to use to start attacking with as well. That Regigigas obviously dealing far more damage to VMAX Pokemon with that fantastic attack. That is a Gigaton break, if I recall correctly. 150 plus 150 if your opposing Pokemon is a VMAX Pokemon. So lots of different options there. Different attackers. Obviously, the Regieleki also hitting for weakness on the Flying Pikachu. So let's see how Ty is able to navigate this turn. Does open, however, with one of his 2 Battle VIP passes.
Oh, that is fantastic. The chances of hitting 2 feels low, but when you've got a deck that can search through items, it doesn't matter that much because you're searching through quite a lot of the deck. 6 cards is huge.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen, obviously, with Arceus Pikachu, it was paired up with the Babaro engine before. This one, Ty's taken on the Celebrations Mew to just be able to dig through his deck and pick up all of those item pieces that he needs at crucial moments that we've mentioned already, like the big Parasol, maybe sometimes a Lost Vacuum, and of course pieces like this, which is the Battle VIP pass, nice and early, playing 3 copies of the Mew to try and utilize and get that as soon as possible. Does, however, look to discard that initial Flying Pikachu. Does have one on the bench.
Yep.
Which is absolutely fine. But of course, he will try to focus where he can onto that Arceus and try and maybe just get a Trinity charge off.
Yeah, the interesting thing about his deck is he doesn't have any recovery. That Pikachu is staying in that discard pile. It ain't coming back. So it'll be interesting to see if then the one on the bench survives. That might be Sen's route victory here.
Yeah, but it's also, from Ty's side, he does play the Luminion, and as you can see on the board there is that Piers. Now, Piers is a really interesting supporter, able to grab you that Crobat V to continue bursting through your deck where you need to, but also allows you to search your deck for an energy card. And as you can see from Ty's side, he picked up that double turbo energy and now is using the Celebrations Mew to see if he can just find a way to either scoop up that Mew back out to the active or maybe find that escape rope or air balloon. There's a number of options available before playing down a Crobat V and just start building up his board with that attack.
Yeah, Pierce is one of the only cards that we have that can search for special energy, so he's pretty special. Even on a deck you don't run a lot of dark types, he's still a valuable team player.
And has it in hand already. Has the air balloon ready on that Mew so it can come back in at a later stage as well. and just has so many options here. There's the Parasol onto the flying Pikachu, and that's just a Trinity charge, I believe, being announced, and really puts Sen in a bit of a back foot here, purely because he's staring down again in a similar scenario, that flying Pikachu.
Sen really needs to deal with that Pikachu early on, otherwise, unfortunately, a repeat of the previous game might happen, and Sen's only boss's orders is in those prize cards.
Oh yeah, that could be big. I mean, thankfully, what's been a great addition to Reggie's nowadays is that Serena card as well. So not only giving you a chance to actually continue drawing cards, does have that extra utility effect. To also boss up a V Pokemon, which is a great card to suit a deck like Reggie's when we know it's got a little bit of consistency issues, or concerns, I should say, to begin with. But just having those multiple options really provides it a bit more utility to try and get into the game. And I believe that was a Marnie there from Sen. So just trying to disrupt the setup a little bit, but also has to focus on trying to get his board ready as soon as possible.
Yeah, the nice thing, I suppose, from Sen's perspective as well, is there are other Pokemon that are really viable targets right now. The Luminion's quite vulnerable, and they've got clear weakness with the Regieleki. Arceus itself is in a position where it could get KO'd this turn if they're not careful. So 2 prizes is really possible this turn, even without a gusting option.
Yeah, no, definitely something to consider here from Sen's side of the board. As he does Marnie, ties straight into a Arceus V-Star there as well, and Ultra Balls and Quick Balls, where we do see the flying Pikachu VMAX come down immediately onto Ty's side. And at this stage, you've got to start to think for Sen. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a shake of the head after that Marnie, which kind of meant he just wasn't able to really find what he needed, didn't play too much more. And we do see the Max Balloon attack taking the knockout on the Regidrago. And Sen's in an, unfortunately, really bad position here.
Yeah, Ty's Pikachu is going to barrel away with this if they're not careful. He's just going to keep flying on through and smacking those Reggies on the board. So it could go south really quickly here unless Sen can put that Pikachu back on the bench.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he'd have to find a way to only attack Pokemon on Ty's bench because that Max Balloon is just going to keep swinging in back-to-back turns. Ty there, just looking in a really comfortable position. You know, there's nothing else he really needs on his board. He does play other supporters that kind of help utilize his position as well. That Volo trainer supporter, which allows you to discard one of your bench Pokemon V and all of its attached cards, so he can start to limit what Sen could really gust up.
Yeah, the options could just get totally taken away, and then Sen could be left in a position with just this Gargantua and Pikachu.
Yeah, and no way to attack through it, which is just a bit unfortunate for this matchup. You know, Ty just has the answers, and not much Sen can really do about it right now. As he continues to play through his turn, just play the research, fresh new hand of 7, and he did have to bench his other Regieleki as well.
Yeah, isn't able to use that Serena this turn, but maybe for next turn. And the beauty of single prize decks, at least he's going to be able to hang on.
Yeah, at this rate, what he'd have to try and do is maybe gust up a Pokemon, which is quite hard for Ty to maybe retreat out of, and then have to re-gust back up that flying Pikachu VMAX, which isn't ideal, of course, because you're having to spend at least two turns to do so. But that might be his only route to victory as of right now.
Crazier things have happened on this stream. I'm sure we can see some spice coming through there. Honestly, we've seen some fantastic plays today. I can't imagine that he's gonna try and pull it off. He's got to, surely. There's gonna be a way.
Yeah, as every great player will attest to, you play to every single out that you can. Every small percentage is a chance. So from Sen's side of the board, he does just pass it over back to Ty. Of course, hasn't really had the chance to disrupt him any more than he has done previously. Does gust up with that boss's orders, that Regidrago, leaving Sen still with 2 Regielekis on his side of the board. And just a very quick knockout there. Down to 4 prizes. You know, again, we've mentioned when you're up against a single prize or as the single prizer, you don't really mind too much
No, there's always a way to bring it back, but the unfortunate case of 2 Reggie Alecki does not favour Sen at all, that sadly. They will need to find a scoop-up net, but again, they're a little bit clogged in the prizes. Thankfully, being a single prize deck, they run plenty, so it's not out of the question yet.
Yeah, so there's the Ultra Ball discarding a couple of energies there from Sen's side. Just looking for what his options really could be here. It's just one of those unfortunate scenarios where it's really difficult to deal with his Pikachu. As Sen opts to choose one of his other Regidragos, of course, does only have one Regirock within his deck as well, because one is prized. It's a really tough spot to be in, and we're just trying to work out. I'm sure Sen's trying to work out himself what the best play could be for him.
I think there's a lot of really complex decisions with this scenario that he's stuck in, because that Pikachu's just going to keep going and it's not going to stop. It's not going to let up. It's just going to keep attacking, and there's not a lot of end in sight. He's a massive wall, ties in such a domineering position right now. I think he seems quite calm. I think that's justified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, usually in this scenario, you wouldn't, if you weren't also more sort of looking at a big Parasol on the Pikachu, you can maybe try and use the Regice attack to try the Blizzard Bind to try and stop him using that attack again. You know, but unfortunately, because that Parasol is stopping all the effects of attacks as well, this Pikachu is just in a really dominating position right now. So we do have 4 of the 6 Regis out on display right now.
Almost there.
Almost there. Still that extra Reggie Alecki just chilling out on the bench.
Oh, was that a Drago?
There was a Drago that hit the bench as well. Yep.
Oh,
so
okay.
Just to steal away from at least being able to use his ability once again.
Yeah, and again, a single prize match can go swings and roundabouts. This can come back round quickly if Sen can find a way away from that Pikachu, and it's Nasty Umbrella stopping their Blizzard.
Yeah, let's have a little look to see. There was just another pass back over to Tai, it looks like. Tai's just cut the deck there, but I'll just confirm one more time. I think Sen's just looking through his discard. Just to kind of double check. Maybe it wasn't a pass, so apologies if I preemptively highlighted that. But let's have a little look how Sen's going to play this out, because he does have one Serena hand already. I guess he's also got access with that Reggie Alecki, what he can do with the electromagnetic sonar, I think. Yep, I did get it right. Put a trainer card from the discard pile back into your hand, so he can at least get some utility out of that for the moment as well. It does have that Cape of Toughness on the active, so it will tank a hit as well from this Pikachu.
Yeah, especially with that Cape, it's really going to come in handy, so it could really make a difference here.
Yep, so he has been able to also remove that Reggie Alecki off the bench, so does have that space now available for the Reggie Steel as Tai is now looking through and finding out what his best route to victory is, just to keep attacking, but which Reggies to kind of keep knocking out throughout the stage now.
Putting the pressure on Sen's going to be important, because Sen could turn the tide still. It's not over.
No, it's never over yet until he does decide to choose so, or all 6 prizes are gone. Is that? Oh, of course. Okay, he might have actually removed the Regieleki because of that. Is that a collapsed stadium in the middle of the field as well?
Ah, yes. Yeah, collapsed has come down. Once again, one of the biggest foes of the Reggies. But Sen plays a really high path count, so I don't think it's going to be too difficult for them to maneuver out of that. Possibly been saving those right now anyway to get out of this sticky situation, knowing that Tai probably runs some stadiums, and they're probably not ones that they want to see.
No, typically it's not the kindest of stadiums to see when you're a Reggie player. But at the same time, did help him remove that Regieleki off the bench. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, a small positive that he can take from that, of course. Tai does have that free pivot option of that Mew as well that he can go into with this escape rope, giving himself an opportunity to just see more cards, get some more information, and really play out his turn to the best of his abilities here as well. So I think he had a couple of options that were available to him. There's a Lost Vacuum, just kind of potentially removing that Choice Belt, reducing some of the potential damage scope of Sen's deck. Even that Cape of Toughness could be a nice, easy target as well. Or even, should a path come down, Tai can remove that outer play at the same time. So again, lots of utility you can get just from the one card.
Yeah, it can be used for so many things.
Just as he attaches the DTE to the Arceus there. And back into the Pikachu. Of course, what did we expect? There's the KO on the Regirock, which Sen has chosen to promote over any of the others, which is quite interesting because of that other Regirock in the discard pile, well, not discard pile, in the prizes right now.
Yeah, maybe they do have a plan. Maybe they do have a plan because, you know, Regirock could have taken down that Arceus. Who knows?
And there's a few little options there. I think with this ordinary rod, I believe that was a Regieleki and the Regirock going straight back into the deck as Sen shuffles up as well, sort of just trying to figure out what other way he can get by in this matchup. Of course, Tai is holding on to that Lost Vacuum as well, so for the time being, that Cape of Toughness and Choice Belt are still active, as well as that Path to the Peak that he's been able to play down at the same time. Looks like another Marnie. All those cards going straight back to the bottom of the deck as Sen will look for other options here.
Yeah, I think he's definitely holding his own better in this game. It's still happening. The game is still rolling. And I don't think he's given up.
No, he definitely hasn't.
A tough competitor.
He doesn't really have much of a choice, unfortunately, because he is one game down right now. He has to find a way out of this, essentially a Pikachu lock. With that Max Balloon attack as he attaches a speed energy to the active Regieleki, drawing some more cards following his Marnie. Does have the Registeel now, just missing the Regirock to start being able to accelerate energy with that Regigigas ability, that Ancient Wisdom. So it's now just down to seeing what else he could get from his discard pile back out into his hand using that Regieleki attack.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see if they manage to do it. That Regieleki attack's really good. I've not seen it used a lot because in most situations, the Regieleki is quite aggro. But in this situation, actually, it can be used to create and craft almost a perfect hand for Sen to be able to finally deal with that Pikachu. It's not impossible. Yeah,
no, exactly that. And I think we've seen it a couple of times in other decks, like a bit more control decks as well, just being able to utilize that different trainer cards, because some cards are so powerful they want to keep using them back to back, and this Regieleki allows you to do so without a need for a lightning energy necessarily. And we do see the first Ancient Wisdom of this round in this game too now, going straight to the Regigigas. As he's now just kind of eyeing up his options here with that Sonar attack, I think. And he does look like he might have been a Serena that he's put back into his hand.
It's interesting because there's a lot of good cards in Sen's prize cards as well, so maybe they could help. Maybe that's what they're thinking. And getting those energies on the board finally is just a blessing.
Now it's just seeing how we can maybe maneuver out of this Flying Pikachu in the active spot. You know, there's currently only 5 prizes on Tai's bench, which does make things a little bit awkward. But as I mentioned, if Tai does end up maybe benching another Pokemon, or if there's a way of not getting out of the active, should Sen be able to gust up another, maybe that Luminion, because that's the only Pokemon that doesn't have any
form of
energy on it.
retreat.
Any energy on it. So again, he's got to play to his outs, and that's what he's doing here after taking another Max Balloon to the Regieleki in the active spot there as well. Just surviving with the skin of its teeth.
Sen could be being really clever here by biding their time and letting Tai use up those resources. They could attempt to trap that Luminion in the active. If Tai's used up all of their retreating options, then the Luminion could get trapped easier. So I think possibly even biding their time is really important in this game.
Yeah, it's just kind of, again, opening up whatever percentages that he might have available to him. And that's just what he's got to do right now. So that Regigigas right now is able to take a knockout on the Luminion itself, being able to deal 180 damage. Should it just get 2 more energies on it, I believe. Does retreat, a hard retreat into the Regidrago to use Dragon's Horde. And does have a few options in hand there as well. So I think I saw research. I think the Serena might still be in hand as well. But again, he's just got to find a way to chain the Serenas out of that Pikachu and into something else.
He's looking pretty dire with the Pikachu situation here.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been able to announce attack after attack after attack so far. And there's the Serena bringing up the Luminion.
Yeah, and that's the hope, isn't it? That the Pikachu just keeps managing to chain those attacks. And like you say, with the lack of other prize cards other than Pikachu on the bench, it's really difficult. I wonder whether, yeah, there we are. So the Luminion with some damage, and it is trapped in the active unless, and straight back to the bench with a manual retreat for the Metal Energy.
Yeah, so Sen's idea was trying to gust it up, get it stuck in the active, potentially then with that gift energy, which we've seen be utilized to great effect. Also then drawing into this second Serena as well, which could have been some sort of way of just being able to hang in there against this Pikachu. Of course, with just attacking with that Regidrago, not knocking out the Luminion, that stayed in the active spot with 10 HP. And now it's just Sen having to look for another option again. Will he look to maybe try and use Sonar to pick up another Serena once again and just keep forcing these resources out of Tai?
Maybe, but he's going to run out of time pretty quick. Tai's only got 2 prize cards left to take.
Yeah, this is the biggest worry for Sen right now, because it's just been 4 announcements of Max Balloon back to back. We've just seen that Tai doesn't really need to do much else. It's now just making sure he can keep attacking and would be able to take the win from this means. And that looks like a scoop up net there from Sen.
Damaged Regieleki away. His cape came in mighty handy.
Yeah, put in a lot of work there to allow survive a hit. Of course, now still is within range of another Max Balloon, but it's just one of those where Sen will have to just try and utilize every card possible. Again, still needs a Regidrago to still be able to use Ancient Wisdom. Does gust up the Luminion once again.
Not letting up the aggro on that Luminion. The Luminion is becoming quite the target, the poor thing.
Yeah, this poor little fish, which has been great in a lot of different decks, does use Sonar to pick up the Serena once again into his hand. And there's another energy in Tai's hand, immediately attached, immediately retreated, and Flying Pikachu looks like it's going to be just taking another knockout here again. And if Tai takes the 50-50, does immediately get an energy card into his hand as well. That DTE coming in there off his prizes.
Gives that Luminion another retreat cost just in case Sen manages to gust it forward one final time. But this Pikachu's dominated both games.
Yeah, it's there we go. We do see the Luminion just into the active spot one more time. Tai knows he has the DTE and extends his hands, which is
the handshake.
A massive shame to not see Reggie's in full flow. We saw it a little bit, but not to this extent where it could actually take the win against a deck which is almost built to really cause a lot of troubles to Reggie's.
Yeah, certainly. Pikachu is absolutely, like, massive. It's just big. And the little prizes, they just can't reach it. They're on the floor. Yep. Pikachu's up in the air, and they just sit there like, oh, no, how do we...
What do
we can't.
What do we do? What are we meant to do
poor
here?
Reggies, I could just imagine them like, looking at this Pikachu like, what do we do?
No, it was great to see how Tai's been able to sort of concoct another Arceus deck, really. Just being able to play loads of different utility Pokemon. Does have the main bulk, which is the Arceus Flying Pikachu.
Yeah.
But has been able to find space for a Duraludon VMAX 1/1 line as well. Does have double Drapion V in the deck as well, knowing
Punishing.
those... Yeah,
Punishing.
really scary to be facing Mew at any point, but when you have something like that, nothing to worry about then. But then complementing it with that Celebrations Mew. Mysterious Tail has been in and out of decks before. It's been played in Palkia, it's been played in other control decks, because it's just such a good utility card to get all those one-off pieces that you mentioned before.
Yeah, it just helps when you've got a deck that has lots of different things going on. It helps you draw the right things to your hand for every matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good card, and because he's not having to play the full 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass, it just means using things like the Mysterious Tail gives increased odds to be able to pick it out of the top 6 as well. And, you know, it's incredible to watch. It was a great showing by Tai, being able to then just showcase how good that Arceus still is.
It goes to show why Pikachu won the World Champs as well, doesn't it? That card is just absolutely bonkers.
Exactly. You know, we've had Andre on stream already today, you know, who'd won Worlds with this very similar archetype. So it's incredible to see such a great card still pull up rank in some of these matchups as well. What's really interesting to actually take note of is they're both now still in a great position, of course. Ty moving on to a 5-0 record with Arceus. Not many people probably would have predicted that. And Sen still on a 4-1 record with a deck which is able to hit a lot of the field with good matchups. Just having to navigate past that turn 1.
Both in strong contention for day 2, so good luck to the best of them.
Yeah, and we'll be following them as we go throughout the tournament. But just for now, that was round 5. We're just going to go to a short break, and we'll be back hopefully with an interview with Ty.
Back. We are here with our round 5 feature match winner. Hello. How did that go for you?
Went really well so far.
How did you feel going up against a matchup that you probably felt quite confident against, right?
Yes, definitely. I felt really fine, especially after seeing his first few rounds or his first few turns, seeing that it didn't quite work out for him. So.
Yeah, it was unfortunate setup, wasn't it, for those Reggies, unfortunately. And then you had quite a strong setup, really, I felt.
Yes. I was able to get all the cards that I needed, got a flying Pikachu online really quick, and then it was like on his side to do something about it, but he just couldn't find it.
No, absolutely. So when you're in that position, are you kind of still trying to make sure that you have everything in your hand for every possible situation that could arise next?
Definitely, yeah. What I was most afraid of is him stalling my Pokemon, like trapping something. So I tried to keep an energy in hand. In the second game, I believe, I was also fortunate enough to draw energies out of the prizes to make sure that he couldn't trap my Luminion.
Yeah, he was trying really hard to get that Luminion stuck, and that double turbo energy out the prizes was golden.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really glad. What did you do anything special to prepare for the event today? Because you've got quite an unusual deck.
Yeah, I played a lot of online. I theorycrafted with some of my friends. Like the list that I started out with testing was way different than what I have right now. Yeah, because I started with Vulpix, so Arceus, Pikachu,
the
Vulpix.
V-Star.
Yes. That's why I have like the V-Star marker with the Vulpix on it,
It's
just as homage.
Yeah,
but unfortunately I couldn't find the space, and in testing it didn't
really feel Vulpixy in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame. But it's interesting to see the evolution of the deck, going from Vulpix to Flying Pikachu, Arceus, and Duraludon.
Yeah, just a thin line. It used to be way bigger, but If Lugia has everything, Duraludon also doesn't do much. So
Yeah, you've teched as much as you can, though,
Yeah.
against Lugia from what I can see, with the Parasol as well.
Yeah.
Like, trying to really corner them into a situation they don't want to be in, right?
yeah. But if they have everything, they will still roll over you.
But you've had a pretty good day so far, I'd
Yes.
say. So good luck in the rest of
Thank
it. Hopefully everything goes your way and you continue to fly over the competition with that Pikachu.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to head straight over to a floor interview.